Sorry. Okay, so Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. This is me Mehtab Amanwala and I'm a student at Rehan School Honor Academy. So welcome to my show Inspiring Minds, where I will try to inspire you. And as you know that on daily basis we will do interviews, and when we will do interviews, so we have a very special guest in our studio. Today I have a very special guest in my studio, and she is Miss Roshika Ali. And today we are going to take an interview from Miss Roshika. So first of all, let me tell you about Miss Roshika Ali. So she is from Lahore, and she have and 20 years of experience in education, and she is a great woman. She is an inspiration for all of us, and she is great. So now we are going to start our interview with meet and greet session with Ms. Roshika and the introduction with Ms. Roshika. So first of all, Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. How are you today?
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me here today, Mehtab.
Thank you for accepting my invitation, and thank you so very much. I have introduced myself, but a great introduction you have to tell us about yours. So, can you introduce yourself now, please?
Yes, certainly. I would love to. So, Mehtab, I am an English teacher. I've been an English teacher for most of my working life. I've had experience of teaching English to students in my own school, which was the public school Multan. I started working in Multan essentially after I got married, because the family I got married into were based, in Multan. So I naturally took out a branch of their business, which was schools. So I ran the preparatory branch of that school for around 17 years. And after that, I joined the Bloomfield Hall School. um, I started off as a coordinator and an English teacher, and then I was offered the headship of the girls' branch over there. But then at the same time, I got offer of headship from Beacon House School. So I was heading their early years section. I did that successfully for around 4 years, and after that, I had a health scare. I was diagnosed with cancer, so I had to take a break, 1 year break, in which I got all my treatment done and surgery and everything. And after that, I opted to join Bloomfield Hall School again. And I ended, like during the course of my work there, I was teaching English. I was manning the front desk. I was coordinating with teachers and parents. I was even taking some English lessons. I ended my stint as the head of the toddlers section. So, after that, I felt that, my health was not all that great. So I decided to, give it a rest, and I decided to pursue a career online. For that, I joined the Rehan School Teachers Training Boot Camp, because I had no idea about AI and how to use technology in teaching, because I would teach in the traditional methods. I mean, I would whatever technology I would use was, pretty basic. So, I wanted to learn more about using technology, and I wanted to, I tried to carve a career for myself online. So, after finishing this this course, I was offered by the Rehan School to become a facilitator in your program. So here I am. I review, students' TED Talks, and I help them basically in, improving English, and they help me in a lot of other ways.
Okay, ma'am, that's great. So, thank you so very much for your great introduction. And I really enjoyed to hear that, like, you are an English teacher because English is my favorite subject also. So, wonderful, ma'am. Okay, so how has your education journey started, ma'am? Like, when you have completed your education, so how do you know about, like, I have to teach the students, I have to become a teacher, and after that you will tell me that you will be a coordinator and now as a facilitator as a Rehan School or Academy also. So how has your
Yeah.
started?
Well, it started, as I told you, by by chance, really, because I had no, like, I didn't start out to be a teacher. I had no idea that I ever would be a teacher. But because I married into a family where they had schools, so my husband had a branch, so I, naturally started taking an interest in the school, and English was my subject. So and I could teach English, so I opted for that because one does the thing that one knows. You start with whatever you do know and what you can do. So I could teach English to students, and I learned a lot in the process. I was not a trained teacher, and it was a lot of trial and error. And I went to the convent of Jesus and Mary. That was, that's a very very good school, missionary school in Lahore, one of the best of its time. But we had of course every school has this different dynamic, and my school, because the way I was taught, the way I was brought up was different from the way now schools are run. They run more on as commercial enterprises rather than schools. So of course the dynamics are very different, and I learned those dynamics when I started working for other for other systems. And I realized what all it entails to run the business end of things. So I learned that as well. It was all a learning journey. I'm not saying that any one system is better than the other, but it is just it's different. So one should learn from all the different way approaches, and one has to get the best one for oneself. So I learned a lot during my journey, and of course now with Rehan School, uh, I learned a lot about technology and how it can be used to teach students, and how it can be a tool to achieve your ends. So hopefully, inshallah, I will try and do my best here as well, and let's see.
That's great, ma'am, and amazing. So, okay, now we are going to continue that. So now, ma'am, can you tell me that, like what is the significance of your cancer survival story? That you have cancer also. So how is it started?
Yeah. Well, Behtab, it is like, because you see, nobody really knows the cause for cancer, really. But it is a very, very common thing, a very, very common ailment, especially among women, children, actually among all sections of population, but among women, it's very, very important that we get regular scans, we, get tests done on a yearly basis. And that is what I learned from that one should always have yearly tests. One should always be aware of what the body is telling us. Uh, it is. I mean, I was lucky that it got diagnosed early, and it didn't spread. It had spread somewhat, but it was, something which could be rectified, and the medications worked on me, thank God, and I was physically strong enough to take those medications. So, there it is. But it's very, very important that everyone should have yearly scans. You should get, for women it's very important that they have mammograms. If you have if and you must tell your mother about it. You must tell her to get herself checked out and scanned. And it's always when something, god forbid, if it's a sickness or a disease, it's always much easier to cure and quicker to cure if it is diagnosed early. So early diagnosis and regular checkups, I would say, they are the key to survival.
Okay, ma'am. So okay, now we are going to continue. So, can you tell me that, like, ma'am, uh, you have an 20 years of experience in education. So, if I like take suggestion from you that, can you tell us that, like, now if we have to take one education, like that's a Rihanna line, Allah Wala invent, that is the AI based education, and one that we are taking now with the subjects like English, Urdu, that is one education. Okay,
The
so if you have,
traditional, yeah.
yeah, traditional basically. So like if we have to take one education, so what's your decision that if you want to take one education and want to decide one education that what we will have to do, so what's your decision that what we will have to do, like if I'm not I'm not good in time management, for example, and I have to make my one way, like I have to continue my education or I have to continue my AI study through Rehan school, so what could I do?
Like Mehtab, I will tell you that because the way the world is changing, AI is going to replace a lot of the jobs, and AI will be doing a lot of the things that, like we do not really have to rely on books anymore, and we do not have to memorize, and we do not have to remember a lot of things. But at the same time, you cannot, like forego that knowledge, that you need to have some basic knowledge, and you need to build on your knowledge bank. Only then can you make better informed decisions. So I would say that you have to decide yourself what is it that you would like to do, and your parents as well, and also the amount of money your parents have kept for your education, and how quickly do you want to stand on your feet, and how quickly do you want to become productive earning member of the society. If you have the luxury, if your parents have got the money to set aside for you for your formal education, then by all means go for a degree, go for like the full works, go for a proper a degree in whichever subject that you choose. uh, but if there is, if money is an issue, if it's like you do not have a lot of investment, then I would suggest you should opt for the maximum the actually I should say you should opt for the path which lets you achieve your maximum potential in the shortest possible time. So then by all means go for this online education and everything. But the most important thing is, Mehtab, AI is going to become so common that everyone will be using it at some point, and it's going to get more and more user friendly, and it's going to get more easier and easier to use it. So you have to basically carve your own way. You have to decide. You have to sit with your parents. You have to, really have a talk with them, and, decide for yourselves what works best for you. Because you see, like for doctors also, like AI can give you all the uh, information out there, but the decision on what actually has to be done will always remain human. So the human factor cannot be ruled out. These are all tools. So the more you know how to use these tools, great. You are going to have to use these tools, and they're going to be there for your benefit, but they're never going to replace you. So, you have to decide for yourself what is it that you are after. Are you, like, are you business minded? Do you have a startup idea? Are you tech minded? Are you into software, development? Whatever it is that you're into, pursue that. Pursue that. But you see, because we will need lawyers, we will need doctors, I mean, we will need engineers. It's not as if those jobs are just going to go, defunct just because there's AI. Uh, More and more, like refined, you could say. So I would, really, it saddens me that, most of our mainstream schools, they're not embracing AI the way they should. They're not, maybe they cannot, they cannot afford to be very experimental, because it takes, because you see, there are so many stakeholders. They have to first of all satisfy the parents. So the parents have to be convinced that, that teaching the AI is going to be better than, learning all those history dates, like and what happened when and why. Because you see, even that is important, because if you do not know your history, you can never have a better future, because you will not know your roots, you will not know where you come from, you will not learn from the mistakes people made, you will not learn their lessons. Because you see, because for human beings, it's all, we have to make uh, use of our history, we have to make sure that we do not make the same mistakes, but unfortunately we end up doing the same thing over and over again.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, if I my next question is that, like, can you tell me that, like, how did your education shape your career or shape your future, and when you will pursuing your education? So can you tell me that, like, what's the difference you have seen after the education that you have taken? What's the change you have seen in yourself?
Okay, you see, when I was going to school, Mehtab, I went to a convent school. Now, with the convent school, they were very strict. I mean, the discipline was, I mean, I'm sure nowadays you would consider it cruelty, and you would say that, this is child abuse. And, and like lots of parents would be saying, no, you cannot do this. And that. But I tell you, that kind of training, that kind of discipline, that kind of, focus and the rigidity developed certain capacities in me. Like, I can stick through things that I do not like, essentially, because there's so many times in your life when things are not going your way. But what do you do at that time? Do you just give up, or do you, like, head bent and you just soldier on? So you see, that kind of soldiering on, that kind of withstanding the attacks to your ego. Because you see, remember that documentary that we are watching nowadays about Rehan Alawala, and he mentioned that, when he was young, he was very young, he had to go through that he had to he was put through tough work. Like, he had to do menial work, he had to do the work, uh, that maybe you would consider that it's servant's work, but he did all of that, so that that the ego, that inherent sense of superiority that one has, that, no, I cannot, uh, I'm above doing this, so that is finished. That is, that is controlled to a greater extent. So this kind of training was given in convent schools, and the education was of very good standard. Like, you can tell, I would credit all my language skill to my school. And in later on, I went to Gannett College for Women, which was, again, at that time, it was a semi-government institution. It was run. It was, again, like, it was a missionary college, and it had a very good standard at that time, and everyone could not get an admission in there. And we had the best teachers. So we had the best teachers because it was a disciplined place. And Mehtab, you see, and the fees were not that exorbitant. Neither my school fee nor my college fee was that exorbitant that my parents would struggle to pay that fee. No, it was reasonable fee, but very good quality, very good education. But you see, nowadays, unfortunately, I find that schools are more run more as businesses rather than schools. You see, because you see, the children are like your clients, like you go to a hotel and you expect the best possible treatment. So because you want the best, the food given to you the way you like it, and your room should be the way you like it. But unfortunately, that kind of mentality is being extended to schools also. So children also feel privileged to be there. They think that teachers are there to serve them. They're not. So you see, they miss out on a lot of things. They miss out on personality development because of that. And you see all these ills in our society, and all that, all these problems, and then, of course, social media, and this rat race, and this continuously emulating others, and seeing that A, B, and C is showing off, so we have to show off accordingly. So this has all aggravated the situation. and it has made our youth so unhappy that they don't feel that they can find happiness in their own country. They feel that they have to go anywhere else in the world, anywhere other than stay in Pakistan to be happy. I was speaking to this very bright couple only the other day, and they had applied for Australian visa, and they were, like avidly waiting for that visa to come, and they couldn't wait to leave the place. And I find that it is our fault. It is the fault of their parents and the generation before them, because we have not guided them. We have not helped them navigate through this path. There is actually, there's so much happening so quickly now that the changes which used to take 10 years to happen, they're happening in days. So one has to change very, very quickly. So for that, it is very, very important that they have the proper guiding hand. They have, somebody telling them that, what is the correct path, or they figure out the correct path by themselves. But there's somebody, you know, holding the guiding light, as it were. So I find that to be missing somehow.
Okay, ma'am. So, like, how was the type of student you are when you are in your school age?
I was very average. I was never a very good student, not at all. I was a very average student. I mean, I never failed a class, but I mean, I was nothing spectacular, nothing. I actually became a better student in college than I was in school. In college, I was a better student because in college, you know, uh, we had class discussions, and we had different kinds of teachers, and they would appreciate it if you would, like, because we had to give critical appreciation of books that we were studying or a play that we were reading. So like they would like students to give their own interpretation, and they would appreciate individual work, and they would appreciate originality. So I really thrived there. But when it would come to the board exam, or the where like the standard means of assessment were applied, there I would be just average. I would not shine there.
Okay, ma'am, that's great. Wonderful. Okay, so now can you tell me that, like, you are an English teacher also. So, what kind of strategies, did you help to your students, that how can you speak English very well, by following what kind of steps, and like whatever you say to students. So, can you tell me that, like, what's the tips that you give to us when we have to learn English, and we have to learn any language in the world with an easy way?
All right, what I would tell my students always was to be confident, because you see, Mehtab, we are specifically placed because of history and geography, that our people have got the capacity to speak any kind of language. You see, there are so many consonants, so many phonic sounds that we can emit in our language, which so many other people in other parts of the world can't. So you see, like, we have dal, d, and we have, and we have t, t as well. So we can, we have this whole range of sounds that we can emit. So all it takes for us is to just be a little vigilant in the way we are speaking, and to understand the phonics of the language. uh, I have never felt that there was anyone who could not learn English. Never. Even if my students were coming from the village, and they could speak very good English by the end of their session with me, by the end of an academic year with me. And only because I would tell them to express themselves well, and not hold back for fear of making a mistake. Because I would tell them that you have to express yourself entirely in that language, and just get your point across. Once you get your across, then then we can work on the grammar, then we can work on the pronunciation, we can work on other things. But you see, the first thing is the hesitation, the fear that oh, if I speak English I will make a mistake. So what? Make a mistake, big deal. It's like, why they have this inherent fear of no, I cannot speak. Even though they understand. You see, it's like, and it is because we are placed in such a position that English is all around us. So it's not possible for us to not understand English. It's not possible. So even for students who do not speak a word of English, they understand very well what I'm saying. So it's all a question of getting them to 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 start speaking. Because once they start speaking, then it's all uh, easy path from then on.
Okay, ma'am. So in the last, I want to take your any message, for me or for my audience that you would want to give to us. So any message you want to give to us, so give.
Yes, I would just ask all you, especially bright young boy like you, and all your class fellows and everyone who's watching, that uh, do your best, try it and learn every new thing. Because learning is lifelong, and one has to be always in the learning mode. Whether you We will always be learning, whether we do it unconsciously or consciously. So it's best that you always keep your mind open, always keep like your heart open, your ears open, your eyes open to new things and new technology and newness, and accept what is good for you, and always follow your heart. Always follow. If your heart is telling you that something is not good, then you stop. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut instinct, because that is actually your inner compass guiding you.
Okay, ma'am. So thank you so very, very, very much, Miss Roshika Ali, that you will give me your precious time for an interview. I really enjoyed this interview, and this is the last interview of 2024. And Happy
Oh
New
yes.
Year to you
Happy
in
New
the
Year to you too.
advance. Thank you so very
Yes,
much.
yeah.
And thanks to our audience who are watching this interview and who watched this interview after this live session. So thank you so very much for watching, and Happy New Year to my audience also. Inshallah, we will meet in the next episode of Inspiring Minds with another guest. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz, everyone.